While FlySafair passengers could face another week of travel disruptions as the airlines standoff with around 200 striking pilots drags on. A final offer tabled by management on Saturday failed to take off and was rejected by the trade union Solidarity. Our business reporter Ntokozo Khumalo is joining us now live from the OR Tambo International Airport. A very good morning to you, Ntokozo. So before you give us an update on the strike action and any interruptions expected this morning for passengers, what can you tell us from that end?
Good morning, Aldrin. Well, I did check on the airline's website for any updates on interruptions, and it seems there are no cancellations that are expected today or for the rest of the week. Really, over the weekend, what the airline did was have SAA fly some of those flights. So I think about 6 flights were then taken over by SAA. And if we take a look at the board, I am going to move out of the shot just to allow Kevin to show the travel board there. We don't see any SAA flights. The check-in is busy for, of course, that early morning rush. We are expecting those flights 6 o'clock, 20 past 6, and about 20 to 6 being the flights that go out in this hour. The flights that we did see then are the SAA flights. So we have reached out to then Kirby Gordon, the Chief Marketing Officer, to just explain whether that does mean that any of the passengers that may have found themselves cancelled have already then been rescheduled on an SAA flight. And they did clarify over the weekend that that check-in would be happening on the SAA check-in counters. So these passengers here being the ones that are then boarding as normal, whose flights were not impacted. And as you rightfully said, Aldrin, that standoff is still ongoing. But let's take a listen to what Kirby Gordon had to say about where they are with that impasse with the trade union Solidarity and what passengers can then do to prepare themselves in this week. Strike action expected to continue until the 3rd of August, but both parties saying that they are hoping to find resolutions sooner rather than later. But let's hear what Kirby had to say, Aldrin.
We'll continue to operate our already trimmed down schedule into this week. With more and more pilots returning to work, we've got the schedule covered for now. And then, depending on how discussions go this week, we may have to look at right-sizing some further out departures by consolidating some flights. But for now, we believe that we've got enough scope to manage the negotiations.
Well, also just quickly speak to us about the pilot saying that the dispute goes beyond pay and that the airline is ignoring their concerns about working hours and fatigue. How is the airline responding to that?
Absolutely. And we're struggling to understand where the issue it is that they're finding themselves. And I've posed that question because receiving statements from both Solidarity and the airline, they do agree on the need for a committee to be established that will deal with then their schedules and that roster, saying that the airline saying that the pilots fly 63 hours a month is not accurate because it does not count any other additional responsibilities that the pilots do have that see then their hours well exceed the 100 hours that is regulated. So they are in agreement that there should be a committee set up, made up of executives from the airline and made up of pilots as well. But the airline saying that the person who leads that should be an independent party, and perhaps that's where the disagreement between the two is stemming from. They are arguing that what they are looking for is at least 1 weekend of guaranteed weekend off, as well as some sort of surety on their monthly schedule that they are going to work. They are saying that they're never really certain how many days in a week that they will be working or how many hours they will be required to work in a week. So requiring a little bit more certainty when it comes to that. So when we do get those responses answers a little bit later on, Aldrin, on where exactly the issue is when it comes to this committee that both parties agree needs to be set up to see then those flights go on as usual, Aldrin. But it seems for now the airline has put in those contingency plans, diverting some of that traffic to South African Airways, and then the other passengers then not affected by the cancellations carrying on those FlySafair flights, Aldrin.
Thank you so much for that update.